The Roger Moore era of James Bond is distinct for many different reasons. Mostly because it's far more campy and fun than what came before. And frankly, most of what came after. It's a stretch of 7 films that weren't afraid of self-parody, ridiculous technology, or even space for that matter. But one film to me is absolutely worse than all the rest. A film that tries to appeal to everyone, and in doing so, created one of the most divisive finales in the entire series. It commits the single worst case of tonal clash in Bond history. Another Bond film that's been traditionally considered bad, but has been questionably rebranded as underrated. Octopussy takes the worst elements of Moonraker's self-parody and flips them on their head. The result is a movie packed with moments that feel like they're trying way too hard to get a laugh. It never really commits to a consistent tone. Let me set the scene for you. A rogue Soviet general has smuggled a nuclear weapon onto a US military base. He plans to detonate it, killing millions and making it look like an accident. The goal? Force the West to denuclearize out of fear. And then, when it's at its weakest, the Red Army storms through the Iron Curtain, conquers Europe, killing millions more, and plunging the continent into communist oppression. That paints an incredibly dark picture, doesn't it? Now, what if I told you the nuke is hidden in a circus tent, operated by a band of train-traveling carnies? Then what if I also told you the only man trying to stop this is a 55-year-old British spy wearing a clown outfit, taking the time to perfectly paint his face and everything? Then what if I told you earlier in the film, he's swinging on vines, yelling like Tarzan, telling a tiger to sit, and fighting a man with a yo-yo saw? You'd probably wonder what kind of fucking drugs I'm on, and then ask for my dealer's number. The conscious choice to turn James Bond into a literal clown completely destroys the tone of this finale. And it doesn't matter how well Sir Roger sells it, because ultimately he is the joke. A joke being played out while nuclear annihilation looms in the background. Some people say it's bold or that it adds tension, but that's just making excuses for something that is generally jarring. Especially when it never had to be this way. He couldn't have stolen a ringmaster's outfit, or taken a uniform from a guard hut. They wrote a cool infiltration sequence in the opening of the film, and it works. So why couldn't they do it again here? And let's be honest, we didn't even need this stupid big top setup in the first place. Why not put a nuke on a commercial train and have Bond board without a ticket?
Tickets, please.
All while security and ticket officers try to stop him from reaching the car with the bomb inside.
No ticket.
Same stakes, same urgency, same suspense, but without the tone-killing visuals and the circus nonsense. Don't get me wrong, you're allowed to love this movie, but don't try to pass it off as a masterpiece. Because to me, this is F-tier slop. You're taking a 3-legged Dalmatian and trying to sell it as a sacred cow. It's a great premise, buried under juvenile creative decisions, that just throw an aging Roger Moore into a wood chipper that's dressed up like a circus funhouse. On top of that, the film focuses way too much on a dull female lead and her carny assassins. There's one decent henchman, but the problem is his boss has henchman energy too. He's like a forgettable villain on a rare crappy episode of The Saint. And just because this dude looks like he sells drugs to children, doesn't make him a good villain. He has the aura of an ashtray filled with water, like a great value Dr. No. He's not him. The Russian general, though, is great. He's played by the guy from Beverly Hills Cop, and he does a solid job.
Oh yes, Victor Maitland, the gray-haired gentleman, very dark-skinned, Capricorn.
I just wish the film focused more on him, and they let the actor go a little more unhinged, really letting him be that mad Russian general. Unfortunately, there are just very few redeeming qualities here, and this is one of the Bond films I'm least likely to ever come around on. Compare that to Moonraker, how it somehow managed to juggle its insanity without turning Bond into a complete joke. This film doesn't just jump the shark, it trips in the ramp, and gets fucking snatched out of midair like a seal during Shark Week. This era was full of overcorrections. After Moonraker's excess, they overcorrected with the painfully dull For Your Eyes Only, then overcorrected again with Octopussy. Luckily, they found a better balance with A View to a Kill, and I'm really glad Roger Moore didn't have to go out like this. What an embarrassing film for a man who's portrayed the character so well. It's just a shame fans aren't honest about how bad this movie actually is. Reddit just props up these gaslighting opinions, because the moment you offer real criticism, you get downvoted by people who can't even form a counter argument. And here's the part I don't hear talked about nearly enough. Why does this fanbase feel the need to safeguard so many bad films? Why can't so many of you accept dissenting opinions? Why do we have to like what the internet has taught us to like? It's always the same reactions. How can you say that about blank? It's a community favorite. Or, you lost me the moment you talked bad about blank. But notice something. These people never actually have counter-arguments, no points, no defense, just the implications that I'm not allowed to have a certain opinion. So what does that say about us? Are we really that soft as a community? Do we genuinely need to bury opinions that make us uncomfortable? Just because they might be true? And here's the irony that really gets me. The character we all claim to worship, James Bond, isn't timid, isn't submissive, he doesn't seek a consensus or validation. Bond is decisive, he's self-assured, he trusts his own instincts even when everyone else disagrees. He walks alone if he has to, and he doesn't apologize for his convictions. And yet, here you all are, doing the exact opposite. Gatekeeping opinions, policing narratives, downvoting dissent instead of engaging with it. It's insanely hypocritical, and honestly, it comes off insecure. To me, your opinion is far more respectable when it's unique and honest, not when it's something you've been conditioned to feel, because a subreddit, a YouTuber, or an influencer told you it was correct. Let's bring discourse back to this fandom, real discourse. If Die Another Day deserves to be called out for bad green screen, then On Her Majesty's Secret Service deserves to be called out for casting a Bond with the charisma of a wet mop. No more sacred cows, only genuine opinions, and genuine discussion. And to be clear, I don't dislike you for liking Octopussy. You're entitled to like what you like, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise. But what I do dislike are people who can't stand legitimate criticism of something they don't even know why they like, and can't even defend. Thanks for watching, guys.